Afternoon, peeps. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you're doing all right. Hopefully you're doing all right. All right, let's get straight into this video because there is loads to talk about. Loads of fights to talk about, loads of stories as well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. All right, let's talk about the fight card that I was at yesterday. O2 Arena, obviously headlined by Chantelle Cameron versus Mary McGhee. First things first, Mary McGhee was limited, like very, very limited. You could see it from the first round, like non-existent foot movement, decent with the hands, decent power. I mean, credit to her, she can take a punch because she got hit a lot. She was game and strong, but in terms of sort of boxing ability and boxing IQ and just knowing what to do and when to do it, very, very limited. Again, she was tough, and that's why she stood there sort of at times toe-to-toe with Chantelle Cameron, sort of banging away, both of them on the ropes. But yeah, you know what it is? She's from the old school sort of female boxers. And that's not discrediting the old school because there were some very good female boxers back in the day. Ann Wolfe was as tough as they come. But when you watch them, they were quite limited as well. And she's from that generation. Remember, she's been a pro since, I think, 2004. Could be wrong, but she's been boxing 20 years, 3 years as an amateur, and then she turned pro. And I could tell watching her that she's from the old school generation. The new generation are girls that have been to the Olympics, you know, been to the world champs, fought for European titles, Golden Glove titles. And I know she had a bit of that, especially with the Golden Gloves, but she didn't have an extensive amateur background like some of the girls we're seeing now who are just very, very good. And I could see that from minute one. Yes, she was a world champion, so we've got to give her that credit. But in terms of her ability, she was lacking big time. Like there was times when she was just running around the ring chasing Chantelle, not cutting off the ring and setting traps, just literally chasing her around the ring. And I was like, what is this? This is crazy. So, yeah, well done to Chantelle. I mean, look, well done to Mary McGhee as well. I don't want to sound like I'm digging her out too much, but I think I maybe expected a bit more. I have watched a couple of her other fights, and again, you know what the problem is? She was fighting very limited opposition, so she looked a little bit better than she was. But I think Chantelle Cameron showed that she's a level above that. And for Chantelle now, she'll wait for the winner of Jessica Kamara versus Callie Reese. That fight, I think, happens November 19th, and then she'll fight one of those girls maybe February or March. And once she wins that, and I think she will win that because she's a higher level than both, Jessica Kamara can fight though, then it's a case of, does she go that down to 135 where I know she wants to be and face Katie Taylor, or does she go up to 147 and fight Jessica McCaskill? So she's got options. That's what she's got. She's got options. And then there are other girls in and around that division. Sandy Ryan is a 140 pounder, so she's there as well. There's loads, right? The girls will go up and down the divisions. I think we've seen it with Amanda Serrano, who can literally go from like really low to like 135, 140 potentially. So look, there are girls out there to fight. We'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, credit to Chantelle Cameron for getting the win. But yeah, Mary McGhee looked very, very limited. Alan Babich got the win against Eric Molina. I'll be honest with you, although Eric Molina quit in that fight, I think we've seen him do that before, especially against Fabio Wardley. I'm shocked to get up from that first knockdown. That punch was clean. And I will say this, I don't know what it's like watching it at home, but I will give him some credit. After he got up, he swung, you know. He tried and he hit Babich with a right hand. Babich can take a lick. He hit Babich with a right hand off the ropes that I was convinced was going to put Babich down, and Babich just walked through it. And I think once that happened, Molina was like, yeah, there's no point. I mean, I'm not going to win this fight. I'm probably going to call it quits. You're giving me, let's just say he's getting 100 grand. You give me 100 grand to fight, win or lose, he gave me 100 grand. And he was like, fuck it. So in the end, very disappointed from Molina because there was more there, but I mean, we'll see what happens with Babich. He wants Dave Allen next. I'm not quite sure if Eddie's going to make that fight just because of the health of Dave Allen, but that's what he wants next. What else was good on the card? Johnny Fisher brought a ridiculous crowd there. I mean, ridiculous crowd. I was stuttering through my interview of him, but I tried to get the point of, I don't remember a guy in his full fight bringing out that many people. Full fight. I mean, people might say names like your Josh Warrington, your Ricky Hattons, your Anthony Joshua's. They didn't bring that out in their full fight. no way. So credit to him. And again, we're not talking a guy with, like won Olympic gold medals, had this fantastic amateur record. There's hardly any amateur record there. So he's got a following, and I think Mark Tibbs and Eddie have to make sure they steer him the right way, the correct way. And you never know what could happen with this guy if he gets to English title level or even British title level. He could genuinely fill out an arena if he gets to British title level. So it's going to be an exciting journey. Castaneda, Yusuf Kamari, I thought the right man won in the end. It was good to see a decision go to the away fighter like that, because that was so close that if it went to Kamari, you wouldn't have complained too much. But I thought Castaneda nicked it by a couple of rounds. And in the end, although I like Kamari, I like the camp, I like the setup, I feel like Castaneda deserves to win that. And it'll be interesting now, because that's almost 2 upsets now back to back. Otha Jones, who was obviously Eddie's guy in America, and now Yusuf Kamari. It's good. So good luck to Castaneda and whatever he does next. Conor Benn was obviously ringside. I spoke to him, and he's fighting on that card of Katie Taylor in Liverpool. Now, Eddie Hearn did mention 3 names during that interview. He mentioned Algieri, Victor Ortiz, and Robert Guerrero. So we know it's going to be one of those 3. Obviously, Victor Ortiz fought Robert Guerrero. Guerrero won. And then there's Algieri. Now, some people are very upset by that. And I get it. You want to see him maybe with someone a bit higher than that. But I do think there is a level of caution you have to take with Conor Benn. Like, I still feel that there's quite a lot of work that needs to be done with Conor. And Conor will fight anyone. I think we know this. But you can't give Conor what he wants. You've got to be smart and matchmake him correctly. Now, do I want it to be better than Guerrero, Ortiz, or Algieri? Yeah, I do. But I do think they maybe watched that Granados fight and thought, let's rein it in a little bit. I thought they thought Conor was going to blow away Granados, and then I think it would have been a better name. I do. I think it would have been a better name. I think they might have taken a risk, and this is going to be a big shout here. They might have taken a risk with Cavi Velasquez. Might. I'm not saying they would have. They might if he blew away Granados. But because he didn't blow away Granados, it's a case of let's get another Granados type level. So a Vargas, Granados, and I think Algieri or Guerrero, Ortiz are on that kind of same level. And then we'll see what we do with 2022. Because I don't think you can take the risk with Conor Benn. I think the next step up's a big step up. Again, the next step up is Cavi Velasquez, Avanesian. Those are the next guys. Those are the next guys. That's the next step up. Unless you guys can think of someone else. I mean, there is talk about Vargas, Jesse Vargas potentially coming back down to 147. That's a risk, man. That's a risk. And then you go to then you open the door to the other guys, the Sean Porters, and he's not ready for that yet. So yeah, let's see who it is before we all sort of scream rubbish, because I know a lot of people are reacting very badly to the names that Eddie mentioned, but we'll see who it is, and we'll see who Katie Taylor fights as well. We'll see. One person we know he definitely ain't going to fight is Boots Ennis, who put on a performance yesterday beating Thomas Delorme. Is it Delorme or Delorme? I say Delorme in America, stopped him in the first round. Some people, I saw Lou DeBella tweeting this, some people think that Boots Ennis already, right now, could beat Crawford, beat Furman, beat Spence, beat all of them. I think we have to kind of... I can see why they might think that, but I don't know about that. Like, I mean, that's the elite level. I mean, Furman, yeah, I think Furman, because Furman's just been an active, but Spence and Crawford are a different beast. And no disrespect to Delorme and whoever else Boots Ennis has beaten in the past, but Spence and Crawford are the, you know what I mean, that's the top of the tree. That's the head of the table. But look, that's what he needs to be fighting next. I wouldn't mind them doing Boots Ennis versus Ugas. Ugas has got a world title. Let's see what happens there. I know the WBA are causing problems for Ugas right now, but if he can get out of that, I think Boots Ennis versus Ugas is a great one. And then the winner of that, then you fight your Spencers, and then you fight the winner of Porter Crawford. Because that's where I think he is right now. But look, fantastic performance from Boots Ennis. It shows just how special he is. And even when he put Delorme down, again, credit to Delorme, he got up and he hit Boots Ennis with a couple of big right hands, and Boots just ate them and just boom, put them away. Delorme's no slouch, you know. Delorme's no slouch. I mean, to be fair, his best work might be about 140, but he can fight. And again, good performance from Boots Ennis. But I mean, if I'm Lou, I'm like, just calm down, Lou. Calm down, Lou. You know, he's not yet, I think, ready for Crawford or Spence. I don't think so yet. Again, that's just my own take because I think both of those guys are the real deal. But again, I wouldn't mind the Ugas fight. I wouldn't mind that at all. And Furman, if Furman is really about coming back. Let me go back, actually, to yesterday at the O2 Arena because obviously I spoke to Dillian Whyte. I spoke to him a few times, actually. And it does seem, from the outside looking in, and this is not me knowing anything you guys don't know, but it does seem as though they know they're getting the Tyson Fury fight next. But that seems like it's a done deal, and the WBC will call that in the next couple of days. I think they're going to call it that Tyson Fury has to defend against Dillian Whyte. Now, people are still very upset about Dillian Whyte pulling out of the Otto Wallin fight. People don't believe the shoulder injury. I did ask him a couple of questions about it yesterday. I said, look, let's address the conspiracy theorist. And I think, this is my own take on it, I think there is a shoulder issue, but I do think that Dillian Whyte, if he was up against Wilder, AJ or Fury, would fight with the shoulder issue. I think every boxer goes into the ring with some form of problems. You know, they always say, I'm firing, I'm at my best. I don't believe. I think they put their bodies through so much that I do think they risk it if the reward is so high. I think they say, you know, fuck it, let's just do it. The reward isn't high enough against Otto Wallin. It's not, unfortunately. And people might be upset about that, but it's not. The reward, what does he get? Tell me what he gets for beating Otto Wallin. Apart from appeasing us, the fans, right, who are very upset that he didn't fight because it would have been a good show at the O2 Arena if he did. Apart from that, he doesn't get anything. He doesn't get the super credit. Otto Wallin isn't a top 10 heavyweight. Otto Wallin might not even be a top 15 heavyweight. And I don't think he is if I do my 1 to 15 rankings. So he would, what credit are we going to give Dillian Whyte? Who I think Otto Wallin would have given him a good fight, by the way. What credit are we going to give him for beating a top 20 guy? We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it because we haven't done it that much in the past. So if I'm Dillian Whyte and I've got a bit of a shoulder injury where it doesn't feel great, you know, he feels like, I'm not risking that against Otto Wallin when I know the carrot in front of me is Tyson Fury. And not only that, now we understand that Tyson Fury potentially could fight in the UK next. So the carrot isn't just the #1 heavyweight in the world. The carrot is the WBC belt, and the carrot is potentially, and I asked Eddie this, a fight at Old Trafford. So you're talking a 75,000, 80,000 fight next March or April against Tyson Fury. Do you roll the dice with Otto Wallin and an injury when you've got that on the horizon? Of course you don't. Come on, people, man. Don't be silly. You don't. And look, I asked so many boxers yesterday. So many. I probably spoke to about 20 boxers. That's hyperbole. 10 boxers. And I said, if you were Dillian Whyte, would you fight Otto Wallin? All of them were like, no. So there's one way that we think, which is, come on, man, just give us the fight. And the boxers think another way. The boxers are thinking, fuck that, I've got the lottery ticket in front of me. Why am I going to even risk that against a southpaw that is game? You don't do it. You don't do it at all. So it looks like we will get Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte around March, April. And look, I think it's fantastic. And it's fantastic for British boxing because potentially you are looking at Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. You then, as well, let's not forget, are looking at the Usyk AJ rematch, which will be around the same time. You're talking 2 massive stadium fights, March, April, if nothing goes wrong. Touch wood, if nothing goes wrong. And with the Dillian Whyte-Tyson Fury fight, it isn't just about the fight. I think Tyson Fury will beat Dillian Whyte, and I think he could beat him comfortably, but it isn't just about that, it's about the build-up. The build-up's going to be it's going to be astronomical. The build-up's going to be phenomenal. Because you know Shane Fury's going to get involved. You know Dean White's going to get involved. You know John Fury's going to get involved. I think it's going to be fantastic. Eddie Hearn on that side. Frank Warren on that side. I mean, come on. Come on, people. It's going to be amazing. So, yeah, as much as I know people were upset, and look, I saw it because I think you all saw the O2 Arena yesterday. I think there might have been about 4,500 people there. I believe it was going to be around 14,000. So, obviously, nearly 10,000 people asked for their money back, so people clearly were upset. But the bigger picture is we get to see Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. And if Dillian Whyte were to fight Otto Wallin with a little injury, and that injury kind of sort of flares up and dare say he gets beat, then that's not going to happen. So look, I'm excited about it and I can't wait for it. And I think next year, look, we've had a good end to the year. November is going to be ridiculous. And I think next year is going to be even better with just the heavyweight landscape as well. So I get why you're upset. I was upset, but we've got a lot coming. We've got a lot coming. All right, let's look at some news before we, in fact, let's talk about Zepeda, by the way, beating Vargas. I don't know if you guys saw the weigh-in where they all kind of started to throw hands at each other and a couple of leg kicks. Zepeda, who I think was almost written off a bit when he got beat by Ramirez. Zepeda's been doing bits, you know. Zepeda beat Pedraza. Zepeda beat Hank Lundy. Zepeda beat Baranchik. Remember that war against Baranchik where they're going up and down, up and down? And now he's beat Vargas. Zepeda is very, very good at 140 pounds. Very, very good. And if Josh Taylor can't get the fights that Josh Taylor wants to get after the Jack Catterall fight, and I think he'll beat Jack Catterall, then Zepeda's a good name for him to fight in America. It's a good name. It might not be the big name, right? I know he wants some of the big guys, maybe the guys at 147, but it's a good name nonetheless. And credit to Zepeda, because I thought that was a good win. I mean, to knock out fucking Vargas in the first round, you know, that's saying something. Really, really good win. Loads of other fights as well. We're not going to go through all of them. By the way, Butayev, I think I pronounced his name correct, beating Jamal James. Is that a bit of an upset? Probably is a bit of an upset. Can we quickly talk about this before we pack up? Ronny Romero. Looks like he's out of that fight with Gervonta Davis. You guys probably been seeing it trending, what's going on with a lot of girls coming out, sexual allegations against him. It's funny, when I saw one, I was like, yeah, you know, I was like, okay, let's wait and see how this plays out, because all of a sudden his name's just got out there in an allegation. And then I saw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got to be removed from the card. I'm sorry, he's got to be removed from the card, and they've got to look at this. I mean, you're talking sexual assault allegations. This has got to be taken seriously. But I have to admit, when I first saw it, I thought, okay, this just seems maybe not silly talk. You've got to take every allegation seriously. But I was like, why has this come out so close to a big fight? But then you're reading about it, and the girl's like, look, I don't even know too much about boxing. I don't really know about boxing. All I know is this guy's done this. Then other girls telling their stories. He's in trouble. Forget boxing, he's in trouble. And I wouldn't be shocked if you're not talking a bit of jail time for Ronny Romero. And it's a shame, because I was looking forward to this fight, but the allegations are a lot more serious than the fight. I'm not quite sure who's going to come in and replace, because they clearly want to keep Gervonta Davis on the card. I don't mind the Tevin Farmer fun. I don't mind the Tevin Farmer fun, because Gervonta Davis and Tevin Farmer always looked like they were on a collision course 2-3 years ago. And then it seemed to kind of just stall a bit. And then obviously when Tevin Farmer got beat by Jojo Diaz, it just completely stopped. But I don't mind it. Tevin Farmer's had a little rest. He's come back and he wants it. Why not? He's a free agent, right? I mean, easy fight to make. They're probably not going to make it, but that would still be a fight that would do decent pay-per-view numbers, because there is a lot of heat between those two. And unfortunately, we know that sells. Heat sells. So I wouldn't mind it at all. I was going to say something else. Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul is announced. Credit to Jake, because he's now actually fighting a proper boxer. I don't know how good Tommy is. Not very good, to be honest, but at least he's fighting a proper boxer, young, as big as him, right? These are the accusations before. You look at the guys who've been fighting. Ben Askren, no disrespect. Even Tyron Woodley, old. Tommy Fury is the same age as Jake Paul, thereabouts. He's as big as him, and he's a real boxer. Like, that's what he does for a living. Part-time, but he does it for a living. So credit to Jake, man. Credit to Jake for taking the fight. Coming up this weekend, we do have Canelo versus Caliplant. Don't forget, I'm doing the live watch along for that one. I'm actually working for TalkSport up until 12. I'm covering the Boxer show for them and another Frank Warren show, I think. But then I'm going to get straight here and we're going to start around 2 o'clock in the morning, as we did for the Wilder Fury fight. You guys liked my commentary last time. We're going to give you some commentary again. Anything else before we pack up? I think that is pretty much it. Guys, thank you as always for passing by the channel. Yeah, that's it. We could go deeper, but I'm tired. Peace.